Soarin' over California. One of my favorite rides. One of my top favorite rides, really. I feel like no one really talks about what really makes this ride so great. And I can't wait to jump into this one. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do a soaring episode for a good while, and I finally feel like it's time. So, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Keys of the Castle podcast. Don't forget to like and follow and subscribe if you are interested, if you have enjoyed any of these episodes, or if you enjoy this one. But either way, thanks so much for checking us out, and hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. I'll give a shout out to my other channels at the end as well. But for now, grab a drink and a snack, sit back, and hang out. So Soarin' over California, very similar obviously to Soarin' over the world, but not to be confused. Slightly different. Before I jump into kind of the reason why I think is the biggest aspect of why this ride is so great, specifically Soaring over California, I will talk about a bit of the history, and I'm going to read off a bit of the Soarin' over California Wikipedia page. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know if it was intentional, but I feel like I had an epiphany or revelation recently as to what makes this ride so great and why everybody loves it so much. Like, everybody is so excited when this ride comes back, periodically, temporarily throughout the years. It just makes absolutely no sense to me as to why it's not still Soarin' over California. I get that it's just called Soarin' now, but like majority of the time it's Soarin' over the world. I really don't understand it. And I want to do also in this episode a bit of what I call Imaginationeering, which is where we kind of imagine what the ride could be. So it's kind of like, Imagineering with our imagination. Some call it armchair Imagineering. But either way, I'll jump into a bit of this Wikipedia page before all that. So this portion is kind of the ride design. So this, just right off the bat, just the design of the ride vehicle itself, which you can probably even hear it on several of my previous episodes. I think I'm a slightly obsessed with ride vehicles. Like, I don't know why I love them so much, but it makes such a big difference to me, the ride vehicles. Like, I think I mentioned in our previous episode with like the Spider-Man web slingers ride. I'm not a huge Marvel person or fan. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. I can enjoy all that stuff. Um, I'm not huge on like the interactive rides like Spider-Man Web Slingers or Millennium Falcon. They're super fun. I think Web Slingers is actually super fun. But like, all that to say, I have no idea why I freaking love the ride vehicle from Spider-Man. Just the way that it looks, the size and appearance of that vehicle, like, it's just so cool. Like, from the very moment that ride vehicle turned the corner to the loading area, I just thought it was so cool, and I just really love that ride vehicle. So for whatever reason, I love ride vehicles. So this is a particularly special story to me, and to me this just adds to the underlying magic of Soarin' over California, which is that it was designed by, there's a whole backstory you can read on the Wikipedia page if you want to, but for time's sake, I will skip to how the current design was made. And it was made by engineer Mark Sumner. And it was made by him using, which, by the way, this actually is not on the Wikipedia page. I should say this for now, but basically, from what I remember, interviews of Mark Sumner and watching like some of the history of Soarin' over California, So basically, the ride was designed using an erector set. So that part is on the Wikipedia page. What's not on the Wikipedia page um, is that he actually, from what I remember, used his childhood erector set to design this ride. Literally, the toy that he grew up using as a child, possibly even in his childhood bedroom, came up with this design for the ride. I think originally the ride had a bit more of a in-depth type of design where there was like a loading area on like multiple floor levels and stuff like that. And this was just, I think, something that he thought of, trying to think of like a much more simplified version of the ride design. So that is totally cool. Um, and it says on here on the Wikipedia page, they're able to efficiently load guests onto one level instead of three different levels, which I think, I'm guessing there was three different levels in the original non-erector set design before he had come up with the idea. And it significantly cut building costs. So that's pretty cool. Um, there's a couple of things on here. So the original film's scenes were shot at an IMAX HD frame rate of 48 frames per second, twice the conventional rate of regular films, which I think it basically gives you like a sharper image. So the if I'm not mistaken, the camera kind of captures more pictures, I guess, kind of as it's filming. So there's less of a delayed look and more of a sharper movement in the images. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's just how I think of it, and that's how I understand it. Let's see. Didn't read this beforehand, but just gonna keep on reading it here while it's in front of me. So the vehicle is moved forward toward the center of the dome, so guests can see only the projected images and experience the sensation of flight, which is really cool. The ride structure contains about 1 million pounds of steel, which is crazy. Wow, that's heavy. 37 tons are lifted during each ride cycle. Craziness, guys. All by a childhood erector set. Crazy. To enhance the illusion, subtle vertical movements of the seats are synchronized to the film, which is really, really cool. This is just such a cool ride, you guys. I mean, come on, everybody loves it. And I'm going to go into why it's specifically cool with California, Soarin' over California. But anyway, I'll keep reading on this page here a bit. Sensations of horizontal motion are created with a combination of vertical carriage movement and also turning the image on the screen. So that's pretty cool. Scents complementing the scenes, so basically smells, are also injected into the airstreams blowing on riders. Actually, I have a terrible sense of smell, but most of us know the ride by this feature. It's actually from what I remember, it was like a really big deal when this first came out. Everyone was really impressed and excited, like, wow, you can smell the oranges. And then the next line here on this Wikipedia page, when it opened, the scent was only present during the Redwood Creek scene and the Valencia Orange Farms scene. In the updated show, scents include rose blossoms. This is, I think, getting into Soarin' over the World. Rose blossoms in the Taj Mahal scene, grass in the Africa scene. I never noticed any of that. And sea breeze in the South Pacific scene. That's really cool. That's actually very cool. That does. I actually was ignorant to that. Like I said, I have a bad sense of smell, so I'm just learning about this now. That there's all these different scents in the Soarin' over the World. Let me know if you guys have noticed that before. But yeah, that's actually really cool, and that brings a whole different element to Soarin' over the World. and I have a bit more of an appreciation after reading that Wikipedia page. So thanks, Wikipedia. But still, my point stands, um, and I'm excited to jump into it. First of all, I am not opposed to the idea of California adventure. I know a lot of people, whether it's super fans or influencers or even Imagineers, kind of, I don't know, they seem to have kind of turned on the idea of having a California themed Disney park or just theme park in general in California. Um, I guess maybe it's the kind of thing that seems like maybe it doesn't make sense because you're already in California. And I know the quality of the opening of California Adventure kind of was not nearly, I don't think, what the quality is now today or even in most of the recent years. So I kind of get that aspect of like, when it first opened, maybe there's still a bit of um, that sort of lingering effect, how they kind of say like the first impression is a lasting, what? First impression is whatever, the most important impression or whatever. So maybe that's what it is for a lot of people. Maybe it's a lot of people who experience the park on the opening day or who are kind of judging things based off of the original idea and implementation of the California Adventure Park. I, on the other hand, think it's a great idea. I love it. I absolutely think it's a great idea. And I think that over time, the idea has just gotten better because as someone from California, um, I think since this park has opened, places like Hollywood and stuff like that have become a little bit less desirable to travel to as a visitor. I mean, even now living in Ireland, it's like I don't really hear a lot of good things about people visiting like California or like, you know, LA or whatever. It's like I think the biggest thing is that people don't know what exactly to do. So that's kind of a separate issue. I'm not saying that there's nowhere to visit in California. There absolutely is. There's a ton of great stuff, but I think people who are just like passing through or who are here for not here. I'm not in California right now, but who are there for like a weekend or a week or whatever. Or like they're on a work trip and they have a few spare days or they're for a wedding or whatever it is. People don't really know what to do. And so they just see kind of things in its own natural state and they're not, I mean, they're just less than impressed. So, and I think like when I think about it, if I were to like tell someone, like, what are my recommendations, even trying to be unbiased about Disney and the theme parks as a theme park lover, it's like, to be honest, like I think one of the greatest things to do in Southern California is go to the theme parks. It's like asking someone like, what's fun to do in Central Florida? Like, of course you're gonna say the theme parks. So I think it's a little bit similar in Southern California as well. Like you're gonna kind of have those theme parks that stand out: Disney, Universal, SeaWorld. They may not be as big or as close together as in Florida, but yeah, I do think those are cool aspects of um, California, and also California is such a hugely just massive state in sheer size, geographically. So it's like the chances and ability of someone to actually visit all of California and experience it on one single vacation and do a bunch of stuff, like it's just too much. It's not even the same as like yeah, I don't know. It's not the same as visiting like say Arizona or something. I mean, that's a big state too, but anyway, all that to say, I am totally on board with the theme of California Adventure, and even more so a proponent of that being Soarin' over California. I think is a great idea. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I think the theme has even gotten even more relevant over time. Um, I know they're taking the park in a completely different direction now, altogether, and so that's just kind of seems how things are going. Uh, but all that to say, I think it's a great idea, and yeah, let's talk about Soarin' over California now. So that's kind of the history of the ride. So I want to talk about pretty much the biggest reason why I think so many people love Soarin' over California and what makes it so great and why I think it's better than Soarin' over the world. And it's not the leaning Eiffel Tower or anything like that, which was supposedly fixed. I saw a video yesterday from LMG Vids, which I love those guys. Thank you so much for all the videos. Me and my family really enjoy them. Um, and it was saying that the Eiffel Tower was fixed. So I don't know what they fixed, but I saw the video and it looked the same. So I don't know. Maybe they were doing a before and after video, and maybe I saw the before one or something. I don't know, but so it's not that. It's not just the fact that that's better. But here's the thing, and I don't know if this was intentional to the original idea from the Imagineers or not. I have not ever heard anything about this aspect, but there is a link between Soarin' over California, an idea that I, in my mind at least, link to other great rides such as Indiana Jones and Star Tours, which is this underlying subconscious believability that is added because of the story of the ride. Here's what I mean. I've talked about in some of the first episodes of this podcast 2 years ago. One of my favorite aspects of Imagineering is this idea, which I don't know if it was, I don't think it was created by Tony Baxter. I think he kind of really implemented it in a much more specific way, I guess, in a more expressive way. I think really it starts with Walt Disney, and even in rides like Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. But there is I don't know, how do I say it? Is kind of like a transition that takes place between the real world and the ride. And it's not the transition itself that I want to talk about. It's really um, the setting and story of the ride that makes things believable. So here's the example I was going to say is Indiana Jones and Star Tours. On both of those rides, the role of the guest on the rides is as a tourist. So the story of Indiana Jones is that the people waiting in line are the tourists, and you get to go on a tour of the Hidden Temple. That's much more believable than, you know, the story being, hey guys, welcome aboard. You're part of Indiana Jones and his personal crew, and every person on the ride vehicle is now the right-hand man or woman of Indiana Jones himself, and you have to go into the temple and help him save the day. It's like, that is a lot less believable than you're, on vacation and you're taking a tour of outer space on Star Tours or in this hidden temple, because there's an aspect of truth there and an aspect of believability. And I think the revelation and epiphany that I had recently about Soarin' over California is that it has that level of believability to it. And you are, first of all, I won't talk about Florida quite yet, but in California especially, you are literally in California. You are quite literally in California. So while while someone can say California Adventure is a bad idea, um, because no one wants a theme park themed to the place that it's already in, I don't think that's the case. And I think even if you're a local, even if you have the argument that, oh, well, California is a locals park, which is very, very, very true. Um, but from someone who has traveled a little bit, been to a couple different countries, and my wife is from Ireland, so she's from a different country. We've traveled a bit together. We've done a lot of talking about travel and, our different home areas and countries and stuff like that and where we're from, obviously. Um, and it just turns out to be one of these things where you don't really explore the place where you're from as much. Like like my wife has seen more, she's seen and been to more places in Ireland because she has me to go around as a tourist. And same thing for me. The only reason why I ever went to Universal Studios Hollywood is with my wife when we were dating. So it's just one of those things that it turns out to be cool for locals as well because you get to explore and tour the rest of the state that you never tour. Like I've never been to the Redwoods. I've never been to um, a lot of the places on there. Oddly enough, I've been to actually Valencia, which is the place that probably nobody has gone to. Um, but even then, like Valencia is such an awesome place that like it's not a place that's big for tourists, which this is the area of the orange groves. It's not really a touristy place. Like it's in the dead center of California kind of, and it's like, I mean, no offense to Valencia, probably the place where I come from is even less well known than Valencia, but like it's not really a touristy place as far as I know. So it's cool to be able to get to explore that kind of hidden gem, I guess, of California to where, like, if you did actually physically go there, um, you know, there might be less to do as a tourist. Whereas if you experience it as a guest on this amazing ride, it's way better. So that is the number one reason why I think Soarin' over California is so great and why people love it so much without realizing it is because there is a level of immersion and believability to it that makes it feel more real, especially when you're riding in it in California, because like you're literally in California. It would totally be possible to step onto some sort of aircraft and fly around California and get a tour and see everything. Like if you were in like a helicopter, for example, like you can literally fly low enough to see some of those images that you see in the ride. So that's why I think California, Soarin' over California is so great. And I'll touch on the point about having it in Florida. I know it's probably in other, uh, I know the Soarin' in general and Soarin' over the world is probably part of some other parks as well. But yeah, even just for Florida, I still think the believability is there. Florida is kind of a similar-ish type of climate to California. They're both sunny and warm places. And even then, again, like it's totally possible. You're still in the US, you're still in the States. And I think the last level of believability of it is like it's not physically possible. And I get it. This is what makes, rides great in Magic sometimes, to be able to do things that are not possible. But in terms of experience, um, I think sometimes it can create more of an immersive, realistic feeling experience, which is sometimes a better experience. To have things be more believable. So, like with Soaring over the world, for example, it's physically impossible to see all of those different places around the world in one day, or even 2 days to see all of those places. So that's kind of an aspect. I would say the biggest aspect of Soaring over California of what makes it so great, and I think probably a reason why everyone loves it so much and doesn't even realize it. I could be totally wrong. Let me know what you think in any of the comment sections, but that's what I think. So now that that's over with, I'm going to do a little bit of Imagineering with you guys. Hopefully You guys can jump in too. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other ideas. But um, I know, I know that there are budget restraints and, operations and all sorts of things that go into um, rides and stuff like that. But um, something that I think would kind of fix this issue a bit or be sort of a compromise. And again, I know there's, restraints and limitations and stuff like that. But for the sake of the episode and just for fun, let's just remove a little bit of those limitations, and let's think about how we can fix or compromise uh, both versions of these rides. Soarin' over California and Soarin' over the world. Um, if you can't tell already, I'm going to just go ahead and say, let's leave Soarin' over California alone. I mean, there's always room for improvement. But anyway, in terms of Soarin' over the world or other possibilities, here's what I think would be cool. Have multiple different versions, not just two versions and not just one version of the whole world. Make multiple different versions. Do a episode of or a version of the ride for Soarin' over Montana or Oregon or what have you. You know, sure, pick a place that would be entertaining or what have you. Pick some good places, I should say. Um, but yeah, have multiple iterations or pick a country like Soaring over Japan or China or what have you. Some of the countries, Africa would be amazing in that version. Um, I don't know what that would look like or be like, but I think that would be so cool to have that. I think it makes more sense to. I think what would be cool would be maybe in Florida to have a rotation, whether it's randomized like on Star Tours is like how Star Tours is now, or whether it's different seasons or different months or whatever. Switch up the versions of the rides. So there's soaring over what Europe or what have you. I think that would be really, 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 really amazing, as opposed to either sticking to California or the whole freaking world. Like, there's a lot of places in between, and everybody loves soaring over California. So I would say maybe have soaring over California as majority of um, the year in California, and then maybe for a certain portion of the year, switch things up and do the different iterations. And then similarly for Florida, maybe just have an even distribution of throughout the year, or every ride is randomized or whatever, or every day is different or something. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think that would be a really cool idea, and it could be a way to have guests coming back. Again, I'm sure there's a lot of work and production that will go into it. Um, just a quick Star Tours rant, because this idea is similar to Star Tours The Adventures Continue. I have no clue why they don't include the original version of Star Tours in the rotation of the ride. No clue. I have no idea. So hopefully Disney doesn't do this and then do a bunch of versions and just totally exclude California. That would really suck to me. But anyway, all that being said, I hope some or all of that made sense to you, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's pretty much going to do it for this episode. I'm excited to have made this because, yeah, I've been wanting to talk about Soaring over California for a long time, and I really love it. I love Soaring over the world too. I think I just love that ride so much. Again, number one, because I'm a ride vehicle person. I love that ride vehicle so much. I'm also huge on like the cinema type of experience. So I just love that aspect of the ride, regardless of the version. So I just love this ride, but definitely my favorite is obviously Soarin' over California. But that's going to do it for this one, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this episode or just are interested in hearing more. Subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Send your ideas for any ride, but also Soarin if you want. How would you improve it? How would you make it different? Do you like it? Do you think they should just leave it the same? Should they get rid of Soarin over California altogether? I don't know. But either way, thanks so much. My other channels are Cave and Cognition Daily, which is sort of a vlog type of thing. And then my music channel, the Cave and Cognition Music. I've got a couple of music covers on there. And lastly, coming soon is Cave and Cognition Coffee. Hopefully coming soon. Been working on that for a while. But anyway, that does it for this one. And as always, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Take care.